Alright guys, I'll be the first one to admit to you that this one's kind of a throwaway. And it's a throwaway to the following effect. I'm coming up on my 1000th AlphaStream, really the last big milestone I'm even going to bother counting. But I'm at 998 right now, so before I do number 1000 this coming Thursday night, I gotta do 999. So it'll be Castle Adventure for DOS. Let me drop my frame rate a bit. From 3000 to 191. Otherwise, it's going to move so fast I'm not going to be able to function. So yeah, the idea here is we have an 83 room castle that's got 13 treasures in it, all of which we have to recover. Goes a little something like this. You are trapped in a desert castle and you must escape. It is rumored that the castle is full of treasures. Can you find them all? Use the cursor keypad to move your man around the rooms. To pick up a visible item, just run into it. To pick up an item not displayed on the screen, use the command GET. To attack monsters, just run into them, but only if you have a weapon. The computer accepts most two-word commands. There are 83 rooms and 13 treasures. To see the high score, look at the wall in the courtyard. One hint, look at everything carefully. So we can save and load if we need to, but that's not going to be necessary. This is a very small, very quick game. Let's get to it. We start in the castle courtyard, and they said look wall for the high score. Hey, that's me. But that's not a perfect score. We're going to get that tonight. So we start in the courtyard. Only one way to go, that's north. You are in the entrance room. Exits are to the north and south. The welcome hall. This room was used to welcome guests. There are large archways in all four walls. Now there's a first thing we need to do since we are not armed, and that is to arm ourselves. The sword is this way. The East Ballroom. There are archways to the north and west, and a spiral staircase in one corner. So that's what that big U is, a stairway leading up. If we look at the walls in most of these rooms, they'll all be gray stone. The East Dining Room. Large opening to the east leads to the garden patio. We will get there later. Here we go, the Castle Museum. Once decorated with many artifacts. The only one important to us is Jan's sword. Now that we have that, we can fight. Next thing we need is some defense. We'll find that going upstairs. Oh shit! Don't want him yet. In this room, the guards hall. This room was once used to honor members of the Royal Guard. That helmet will allow some hits we take to be rendered ineffective. Now that we've done that, we've got an ogre. Now if I were doing this at 3000, I would not be able to get away from this guy. Every once in a while, if you stand there long enough, he'll hit you. The way we can beat him is by literally just spearing him down, like this. Until it says killed instead of struck. Anyway, we are in the east end of the upper hall, and there's a staircase leading down, where we just came from. Let's finish exploring the first floor. I like to do it laterally. Oh, hold up. Just a minute, just a minute. Hooah. 2 ogres up, 2 ogres down. The West Ballroom. Archways to the north and east, and a spiral staircase in one corner. Now let's start going north. The west dining room. 2 archways to the north and archways to east and south. This is one of our treasures, the fancy goblet. Now some treasures allow us to do extra things. That one is not one of them. The central hall. Big old spiral staircase. We've been in the east dining room before. The museum. So this square forms a little loop with the garden and patio. Up, clobbering time. Good night, Snake. A lamp. So let's look at our stuff so far. The sword looks sharp. The helmet looks tough. It's lit magically. So that lamp will never actually run out, but we do have to be holding it in order to get into a particular room. What else? The goblet. It's made of gold. That's all we got so far. In the center of the castle garden is a fountain. Can't see through the water, unfortunately. There's a solution to that, which we will get to a little bit later. Right, so we'll go this way next. The kitchen. You can look at the notable objects like we did with that fountain. Sometimes there's nothing there. In fact, usually there's nothing there. Ah, hello. A wine flask. Well, I know something we could fill it with. Let's head back to that fountain. If we try to do this without the flask specifically, the goblet will not work for this. It'll tell us we don't have a container. But if we do, you can drink the water out of the flask, but not if you're next to the fountain. Now, I've never actually seen a death by thirst, so I don't know if the flask and the water actually do anything for us. So we'll keep that for now. See if another reason doesn't come up later. Continuing north from the kitchen, we have a storage room. Wooden shelves. If you don't have the lamp, you cannot go down these stairs. Oop. Dead bat. See the barrels in this wine cellar. Nothing. That's a door. But until we have the key, we cannot open it. Now, don't be stupid and drop the lamp down here, because you won't be able to get back. What did we just pick up? Oops. Okay. And also, because of that wording, I've got to do this. I am a child. I can't resist. Now, you'd think this would go room to room, square to square if you were to write this down on like graph paper or something, right? But watch this. From this room, If we go in a circle, west, south, east, north, it's not all a perfect one-to-one. There is overlap. So if you are writing down a map, you want to make some kind of room for spare notes so you know what to put where. Anyway, the anteroom. Here people waited for an audience with the king. It was once lined with benches. The throne room and a demon. All things being equal, which they are not because I slowed this down that far, the demons would easily be the toughest things in the game. And the crown. Another treasure. The king's dressing room off to the left with a staircase. And the queen's to the east. Cool. Alright, that is the entirety of the first floor. Let's go upstairs the way we've gone already and continue our deliberations from there. The dead bodies just stay there till eternity. You can look at them and get what you already know. What do we got? That is a statue. You can find treasures this way, or other items. But we are limited to a carry of 6. So each time that happens, you want to do this. Head back to the courtyard. Drop anything you don't need, or don't need yet at the very least, back here by the gate. That's your final goal, to open the gate and get out. A perfect score would be all 13 treasures obtained and all 8 monsters killed. So far we've got 2 treasures, and we've killed 4 monsters already. 2 ogres, a demon, and a bat. Now the direction in which you drop an item is the last direction in which you moved. So if you take a step down and then drop the crown, it'll drop to your south. Do the same with the goblet, because neither of them does anything fruitful for us. Whoops. And invalid command will just get you that question. I don't believe there's any use for the wine flask at all, so I'm just going to shove it in this corner over here. And I don't have everything I need for the lamp yet. So I will come back for that at a later time. You always want the sword and helmet on you for combat purposes until you've killed all the monsters. Which the first time you're playing it, you have no reason to know this, but having admittedly rehearsed this before I did it, there are 4 to go. After that, I'll get rid of the sword and the helmet. Make room for more stuff. Continuing from where we were, we'll go back to that statue. Pick up that necklace. If you look at the statue again, that's all you get is a description of that particular thing. And an hourglass. Here's another reason to look at everything. Look at the necklace. On the back it says, protection from traps. That will come important at exactly 1 place later. Another demon. Cauterizer. Buzzy, buzzy, buzz. Dead. A magic wand. Not one of the treasures, but it does have major use. We'll demonstrate that later. The Annex Hall, by the way, the Knights Hall, the west end of the upper hall, the center of the upper hall, the east end of the upper hall, and we've been in the guards hall before. Alright, so check this out. Balcony, my god. Balcony looking over the castle gardens. Over the castle gardens. Remember that fountain we couldn't see through? If you look at it from here, well, not look at the fountain, but look at the garden. You can see that gem now. Now, pro tip, you can actually grab this gem before then. There's nothing to lock in the condition of having to do that. But you won't know that it's there in order to grab it like this. Unless you do that. Alright, so we are now at 6. Let's go back and unload. We will not be needing the hourglass. Or the gem. The necklace comes later, along with the lamp. And let's actually hang on to the wand for now. We'll go there next. We can go up here. Let's actually do this. I'm going to check out the battlements first. So we're basically in the northwest corner of the second floor. Get the silver bars. Another treasure. So we're doing pretty good here. Before we go to the east battlement and go upstairs, let's check this place out. We got us a vampire. He won't fight us, but we need a way to get rid of him. That'll come later. A guest room with absolutely nothing in it. A corridor with a staircase that goes up to a different spot. So the kings and queens dressing rooms we saw on the first floor, they connect right here. Kings, of course, on the west. Queens in the east. Interesting to have an entire closet room just below. We'll go up there in a little bit. First, having explored the second floor in its entirety, we're going to go upstairs to what I call the outer third floor. Take us to the upper battlements, if you couldn't guess. They connect, of course, to the lower battlements this way. Now the battlements up above are a 2x3 square. You notice there are upstairs to go with these downstairs. Not much in the battlement ring aside from another downward staircase, which leads down 2 floors actually, to the dungeon entrance. Another door. Now, I'll tell you at this point that both doors we've seen are unlocked by the same dungeon key. Once we find that, we'll use it. and come back. So let's go upstairs again. Now we're on the castle wall. It's another 2x3. Oh, look, a treasure. That's not spelled right, but here we are anyhow. So we can actually set up an infinite loop for ourselves between the upper battlement ring and the top of the wall on either outer side. But if we want to go up, we'll have to do so when the wall's in the middle, or the stairs in the middle of the wall. The middle of the east tower's got nothing. The top of the east tower has a harp. Now this one doubles as a treasure and a meaningful quest item a little bit later on. We'll consider it a vital quest item until we get to that purpose. So get a look at this. The top of the west tower has nothing, but the middle has an extra corridor. The sorcerer's quarters. It looks magical, does it? Well, it just so happens we have a magical item of our own. So, we wave the magic wand, like you do. And as you do, there's a puff of smoke revealing a secret passage. There's this, and there's one more in the game. The crystal ball. That is not a treasure, but has its use. We're going to have to come back, however. Oops. So real quick, let's make the journey back. 1, 2... Whoops. You have to do this a couple times throughout this, unfortunately. Alright, so drop the silver bars, drop the rubies. The other place for the magic wand is the same place that we need the lamp and the necklace for, so we'll come back for that later. And keep the harp for now. We're going to take it back upstairs for a moment. Oops. That'll allow us to pick up... Oh, you gotta be shitting me. Well, it doesn't stay revealed, unfortunately. Let that be a lesson to you guys. So a minor shift in plans. Oh yeah, if you try to pick it up, well, it's a visible item. It'll get smart with you. So then we're just going to carry on like that with one slot. get the ball. If you look at the crystal ball, a man in a winding passage waving a wand. So it gives you a hint as to where the other secret passage is. And that's also important to the final goal of this quest. Whoops. Flavor text. There is a puff of smoke and you appear in the sorcerer's room. Right. If I'd been paying attention, I'm sure I would have noticed that. I'm sure at this point folks are yelling at me now. Oh well, so be it. Now let's head for upstairs proper. Alright, now we're in the north upper. The purple room. It's purple as expected, but enjoy this little kicker. The walls are made of gray stone. Now you'd think they'd go to the trouble of painting the walls, but apparently not. There are 4 such colored rooms. The purple, the red, which contains a holy cross. Take a guess at this point as to where that becomes useful. Continuing on from that thought, there's a way upstairs from here, which we'll get to later. A blue room. And a yellow room. Nothing on the bed. A pair of eyeglasses. That'll be important in conjunction with another item later. First, we are now at 6. So let's first take that cross. Now it's not enough to be holding the cross. You gotta do something with it to get rid of this guy. If you try and do it in a room that he's not in, there's not anyone to show it to. Now let me try this. If I'm not beside him, but in the same room, oh, it still works. Fascinating. I thought I would have had to be right up against him, but no. Yep, so you want to show him the cross. He'll disappear. And there's a jade figurine, another functionless treasure. Now, under the assumption that the vampire will not come back, so far it looks like he didn't. Let us return to home base. The treasures you recover only count if they are in this room at the end of the game, when you leave, or should you get killed. Alright, so we've gotten the hint out of the crystal ball, so we're going to drop our balls. We've used the cross, and it's one of the treasures. Yeah. So we'll drop that. The magic wand will be useful to us later, but not at this moment, like I said. And we still need the harp for something further upstairs. Actually, you know what? Crystal ball isn't a treasure. So let's put it there. Good. Alright, as we continue on, let's go first for those eyeglasses. No, actually, let's go for the figurine. Then the eyeglasses, which are in this room. We still have room for one item, so let's continue upward. Now we're on floor 4, the top floor of the place. Let's begin over here. Keep tracking my movements if you guys want to see all that I'm doing. A key. Good. Which, by the way, is the dungeon key, so now we can go that way. That's not enough to have the harp. You get a nice little ditty if you play it anywhere that doesn't have a fairy in it. Play it here. He likes the music and leaves. Now there are fairies blocking both ways to this room. I don't think getting rid of both does anything for your score, but it gives you 2 ways into that same room now. Oh, hello. Very interesting intricacies about this place. I want to try something. Oh, because I was facing toward the wall, I guess. Alright, hopefully it'll stay there. Actually, let's save the game in case. Let's go down this way. There's an east end of the library and a west end. One end doesn't have anything. The other, if you're paying attention, does. And you have to be at one of the westernmost shelves to get the book. Alright, so get a load of this. You need the eyeglasses to do everything possible with the book. If you look at the book, you can see that the cover is the gate. And where do you remember there being a gate? Back at the courtyard in the very beginning. Now if you try to read the book, your eyesight's not too good. Hence the bifocals. Now read the book. The book reads Wave Scepter. So if you put that all together, you wave the scepter in the room with the gate to make it open, and that's your way out. Obviously at this moment we don't have the scepter, but we'll be rectifying that very shortly. For the moment, time once again to unload. So, figurine is a treasure. We have read the book through. The eyeglasses have served their purpose. And going to have to go back this way in order to deal with the harp, its use, and the diamond behind it. So let's take the diamond from the totally empty room. It'll let us leave, but then the fairy will respawn. I find it very interesting that the vampire in this room does not. So the harp is a treasure. If you're counting, that's 9 at this point. $10 for the diamond, which isn't useful in a quest sense. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do real quick so I can give myself some room to function. I'm going to take only the lamp and the key. Let's unlock both doors. Whoops. One door. It's through the battlement wall. Now remember this room, the dungeon annex, it's, pardon me, going to become important. Actually, minor change of plans. Let's explore the dungeon. So that was the entrance to the east. The annex leads to the dungeon proper, the cells, etc. There's actually nothing in here. And to my knowledge at least, there's no way to actually examine these cells. Down south is the torture room, or torture room for those little better versed. Though I must admit, I'm curious. Yeah, doesn't like that. I wonder if that wand we'll be bringing in here does anything to the chains. I never tried that. Go west from the dungeon annex and you wind up in a winding passage. I'm going to save here. The room is filled with water and you drowned. In the winding passage, if you are not carrying the necklace, that is what happens. So here's the game end screen. You can see the 11 treasures that I managed to bring back, or was holding at the time. Oh yeah, the necklace was still in the courtyard. I hadn't used it yet. 6 out of the 8 monsters are dead. The 2 ogres, the 2 demons, the bat, the snake. Let's try that again from where we were, and this time we're going to turn back the way we came. I just wanted to show that to you guys. That's what it'll look like when we don't have a perfect score. It'll tell us what the perfect score is. Oh, I don't want the battlement. I need to be downstairs in the storage room. We have that lamp, so we can now go down here. Where is the dead bat? Fascinating. curious about something. If I'm down here and I don't have the lamp, alright, good enough. Okay, so I can't enter the wine cellar from either direction unless I've got the lamp. Now, knowing that there's another way in, I'm going to do the adventure game tactician way and do like this. We're going to go back now in order to maximize our carrying capability. So that's going to mean dropping the lamp and the key. Since both doors are unlocked, I no longer need that either. Or you know what? We're going to make this a bit of a for science moment. How far can we go the other way without the lamp? Can we even go down here? Yeah, we can. Yeah, alright. Now, what are these magical chains? As you wave the wand, nothing happens. And it'll be like that anywhere where there's not magic either. So yeah, we have the necklace, which means we don't get trapped. Winding passage. The crystal ball said, not in this winding passage. Ah, this winding passage. Oh, alas, we need the lamp to get in there. Alright, so there's 3 points of winding passage. The middle / vertex / corner of them is where you want to wave that wand. Maze. If you look in this room, Kevin Bales was here. If you don't know, Kevin Bales was the 14-year-old boy who designed this game. And the treasure, the gold bar. Now, because I don't have the lamp, I'm going to have to do some long way around here. Alright. So we're going to have to spin all the way back here. Now there are supposed to be a couple spiders in here. A small spider a bit up north, and a big spider in this room. That big space in the southeast should be a spider running around. Now, saving and loading was a bit squirrely in games like this. I wonder if the fact that I saved my game had anything to do with that. But yeah, we're going to have to go out this way. And leave this way. And go back. And switch up our armaments. Well, with those spiders not spawning right, I'm going to make the assumption here that I will no longer need the sword or the helmet. I don't need the gold bar. So there's 11 treasures here. One still in my hand. And the last treasure is, as I'm sure you've suspected by now, behind the hidden passage down in the dungeon. And if you've been paying attention up to this point, you also know what that treasure is. I'm all but screwed if we see the spiders come up. See, this is the scenic route. The route where if you've completely forgotten where you're going, here's where we want to do this. The king's secret room, and there is the scepter. We wave the scepter anywhere but the courtyard. Nothing will happen. With that, all that is left is to take our treasures and go home. If I don't get a perfect score, I know exactly why. Let's drop the necklace. Drop the lamp. Drop the wand. There goes the gate. Does it close? Yeah, it does. Take your picture here. On the left are all 13 treasures. On the right are all non-treasure quest items. And out we go. Oh, interesting. Not only did the spiders disappear, but... Oh, wait, no. We got a spider. The snake disappeared. One of the demons, one of the ogres disappeared. So, still some glitches in the final product of this, but I promise you there are 8 monsters. I promise you if they're all dead and all the treasures are collected, you do get 1550. I'm not going to do all of this again, to be perfectly honest. check out Bartja or Das Gamert. He's got a run through of this where the perfect score was attained. No glitches encountered, no save issues, no nothing like that. He'll show you. It's possible. But for the sake of what I was doing here to get up to stream number 999, this is quite good enough. So, that is Castle Adventure. I'm AlphaStar DX. Wait for number 1000 on Thursday. It's going to be a hoot. See ya.